Marcus Washington stared down the shocked face of the airline CEO as security escorted the entire flight crew off the plane. Just 20 minutes earlier, he had been humiliated, forced to give up his first-class seat despite being a Fortune 500 CEO. Now, with his phone recording the unfolding drama going viral, the tables had turned dramatically. You know what I mean? That moment right there wasn't just about one man, it was about justice finally being served. Before we dive into Marcus's story, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Hit the like button if you believe everyone deserves equal treatment regardless of skin color. And subscribe for more incredible true stories of people standing up against discrimination. Let me back up a sec and rewind to how a successful black executive turned a humiliating experience into a powerful reckoning. Marcus Washington had always defied the odds. At 42, he'd gone from a determined kid growing up on Chicago's South Side to the brilliant CEO of NextGen Technologies, a cutting-edge AI company valued at billions. In a country where black CEOs remain a rare sight, Marcus's journey was nothing short of exceptional. That Tuesday morning started like any other in his meticulously organized life. Marcus reviewed his presentation one last time in his Atlanta penthouse, adjusting his custom Tom Ford suit. Today wasn't just another day, it was potentially the most important deal of his career. Japanese investors were ready to pump $300 million into NextGen's groundbreaking medical AI, and the meeting in San Francisco would decide if years of innovation could truly change healthcare worldwide. Mr. Washington, your car is waiting downstairs, his home system announced. Marcus nodded, slid his tablet into his leather briefcase, and headed out. He'd booked a premium first-class ticket on Coastal Airlines, ensuring he'd arrive refreshed and ready. 6 hours in the air to prep mentally, review notes, and steel himself for tough questions. His executive assistant, Shanice, had triple-checked everything VIP status confirmed. Seat 1I, window seat, first class. As his driver navigated Atlanta's morning traffic, Marcus rehearsed his pitch, answered early emails. Despite his success, airports always made him tense. He knew all too well that his achievements didn't shield him from the assumptions people made the moment they saw his skin. "Good luck, sir," his driver said, unloading luggage. Marcus smiled politely, appreciating the gesture. Check-in went smoothly, but Marcus noticed the subtle shifts, the brief surprise on agents' faces when a sharply dressed black man approached. The TSA agent eyed his ID with unusual interest, asked to check his laptop separately despite waving through 3 white executives with identical gear. Marcus complied quietly, the words of his father echoing. "You've got to be twice as good to get half as far." He'd learned to pick his battles carefully. At the first-class lounge, the routine indignities continued. Another flicker of surprise when his boarding pass was scanned, a request to show ID while white businessmen passed freely. Marcus almost didn't notice anymore. These slights had become background noise, but they stung just the same. He settled into a quiet corner, opened his laptop. The stakes were high. NextGen's AI system showed 98% accuracy, catching medical conditions humans might miss. The Japanese investment would speed global deployment. When boarding was called, Marcus packed up, confident and prepared. But what happened next, before the plane even took off, was the real test. Boarding started with the first-class passengers, Marcus included. His priority status showed clearly on his phone. The scanner beeped green. "Enjoy your flight, sir," the gate agent said without much warmth. At the aircraft door, flight attendant Brittany greeted passengers with practiced smiles, but when her eyes met Marcus's, something shifted, a flicker of confusion, suspicion. "Boarding pass?" she asked Marcus, though she hadn't asked the same of the elderly white couple ahead. Marcus showed his phone calmly. "First class is to the left," she said, her tone noticeably cooler. Marcus nodded, made his way to the spacious first-class cabin, storing his briefcase overhead. He barely noticed when Brittany warmly welcomed a white executive nearby, joked about needing an early cocktail. When she turned to Marcus, her smile tightened, replaced by professional obligation. "Water, please," he replied, already focusing on his presentation. the cabin filled with mostly white executives and wealthy travelers. Marcus stayed focused, barely registering when a middle-aged white man, suit ill-fitting, strode over, eyes blazing annoyance. "Excuse me, you're in my seat." Marcus looked up, calm but surprised. "I think there's a mistake. I'm in 1A. The man insisted, flashing his boarding pass. "Richard Whitfield, seat 1A. Marcus showed his own. "Marcus Washington, 1A. Two boarding passes for the same seat. Before Marcus could call Brittany over, she appeared, focusing on Whitfield first. "Is there a problem?" she asked. "Yes, this man's in my seat," Whitfield declared confidently. Marcus calmly displayed his pass again. Brittany barely glanced before turning back to Whitfield. "Let me see your boarding pass." After a quick look, she said, "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to move. This gentleman's seat has been assigned to you in error." Marcus kept his composure, biting back the familiar burn of unfair treatment. "Could you please check the system? Idea prasiata prupe verification." Her expression hardened. "Mr. Whitfield has that seat assigned. There must be a mistake with your boarding." By now, a small crowd of first-class passengers was watching. Marcus held up his phone again. "I boarded correctly. The gate agent verified my seat." Brittany's lips thinned. "I'll call my supervisor." Minutes later, the head flight attendant, Katherine Johnson, arrived, exuding authority. She asked Whitfield first, who repeated his claim. Marcus calmly requested the manifest be checked. Katherine examined the pass's side, then said, "Sir, there appears to be confusion. Perhaps you misunderstood your seat assignment." "No misunderstanding," Marcus replied firmly. "My boarding pass says 1A, verified at the gate." Katherine walked away to check the manifest, returning with practiced patience. "Mr. Whitfield was assigned this seat weeks ago. We'll need to find you another seat." "I booked months in advance," Marcus countered, discomfort growing as all eyes bore down on him. The situation escalated with more crew gathering until Captain William Hayes appeared. He acknowledged the confusion, but demanded Marcus accept alternative seating to avoid delays. Marcus stood his ground. "I'm simply asking for verification rather than assumptions." The captain's expression darkened. "Sir, if you continue to cause disturbance, I'll have to remove you from the flight." The threat hung heavy. Marcus looked around. Crew members united against him, passengers mixing discomfort and judgment. Despite millions in his bank account, a valid ticket, an undeniable right, he was reduced to the difficult black man. "Fine," Marcus said quietly, gathering his things. "I'll move." Brittany's smile returned immediately, turning to Whitfield. "Apologies for the inconvenience. Can I get you a complimentary drink while you settle in?" No such offer came to Marcus. Led past premium economy to row 34, Marcus was shown a cramped middle seat squeezed between annoyed passengers. He glanced at the seat, then back at Katherine. "My company paid for first class," he said. "Contact customer service after your flight about a refund." She replied dismissively. As Marcus squeezed in, powerlessness washed over him, the kind he hadn't felt in years. The luxury, space, respect of first class replaced by discomfort and erasure. His $10,000 suit was already wrinkling. His knees pressed painfully against the seat in front, elbows tucked to avoid crowding neighbors. Nearby, a heavy-set man spilled into his space. A college student with headphones ignored him. "Excuse me," Marcus called to a flight attendant. "My briefcase is still in first class. I need it for the flight." The attendant sighed. "I'll see if someone can bring it back, but we're preparing for departure." Marcus checked his watch. His investor meeting was 3 hours away. Normally, enough time to prepare, now impossible. No power outlets in economy drained his tablet to 30%. No space to work, no chance to focus. The captain announced a delay, citing paperwork. Marcus closed his eyes, centering himself, recalling his rise from Southside Chicago to Harvard and beyond. Discrimination had followed him all his life, subtle, overt, exhausting. He learned to pick battles, but this was different, blatant, humiliating, unjust. Overhearing 2 flight attendants snickering about these people always thinking they belong in first class, Marcus felt the familiar sting of casual racism. Their words were acid. Their assumptions about who belonged or weren't hidden. They were a daily burden. Have you ever been treated unfairly because of how you look? Comment yes if you have. Feel like if you believe respect should be universal. Now, here's the twist. What happened next might surprise you. Across the aisle, a young white woman named Jessica Taylor, who had noticed the commotion, removed her earbuds and frowned. Their eyes met briefly, not pity, but real concern. Marcus turned away, focusing on breathing. The meeting was what mattered. The seatbelt sign dinged off. The man beside Marcus reclined fully, invading what little space remained. Marcus's phone buzzed with investor messages. "Excuse me," he called to another attendant. "Any chance of an upgrade?" "I'll pay." "No seats available," came the flat reply. Marcus nodded, unsurprised. He returned to breathing exercises, mindful that this wasn't just discomfort, it was a visceral reminder that no matter the billions, the credentials, the achievements, racism still cramped his space and dignity alike. As the beverage cart worked its way back, Marcus watched Whitfield in first class sip champagne with a smile, completely unbothered. Then Jessica stood, told a flight attendant she needed the restroom, and as she passed Marcus, discreetly dropped a folded napkin in his lap. Curious, Marcus unfolded it. Inside was a note. "I saw what happened. I recorded their comments. I work for Coastal Corporate Office. This isn't right." Hope flickered. When Jessica returned, she handed Marcus her business card, inviting him to meet in the galley after 10 minutes. Marcus debated options, the risks, the stakes. But this was more than a seat now. It was about holding people accountable. In the galley, Jessica apologized quietly. "I've seen this pattern too many times." She showed him the video she'd recorded of the crew's comments. She explained her motivation. Her brother married a black woman, and she'd seen the difference in how they were treated. Plus, it was her job to ensure positive customer experiences. What happened to Marcus was the opposite. Jessica suggested documenting everything, confirming the seat assignments. Marcus decided to record the rest of the flight, ensuring a record. They parted ways with a quiet note, an unspoken alliance born of shared integrity. As the flight progressed, Marcus documented interactions, noting the stark contrast in treatment between him and white passengers. Brittany, now in economy, noticed the recording and tried to stop him. Marcus stood his ground, citing FAA rules and his right to document his experience. The purser, Michael Evans, arrived, accusing Marcus of causing disturbance. Marcus calmly explained he just wanted to discuss being removed from his rightful seat without verification. Evans denied him and refused to check the manifest, telling Marcus to be grateful he was on the flight at all. The coded word "attitude" hung in the air. Marcus knew its meaning all too well. Demanding employee IDs for all involved, Marcus planned his formal complaint. Eventually, Evans reluctantly confirmed Marcus's original seat assignment was correct, and Whitfield's seat was 101A as claimed. Passengers nearby nodded in support. Even a man who'd been sleeping beside Marcus whispered, "That's messed up, man." Marcus texted his team and legal counsel, setting wheels in motion. Jessica caught his eye and gave a thumbs up. The pieces were falling into place. As the plane landed, tensions in the cabin were palpable. Passengers murmured as security professionals boarded, eyes fixed on Marcus, anticipating trouble. But the officers moved straight to first class, approaching Whitfield with calm authority. "Sir, please gather your belongings and come with us." Whitfield protested loudly, refusing to comply. Marcus sat quietly, recording the scene. Jessica stepped forward, identifying herself as Coastal Airlines Assistant Director of Customer Experience, explaining the crew's failure to verify seat assignments and the incident's mishandling. The cabin buzzed with whispers. Crew members' expressions shifted from confidence to alarm. Then Alicia Morrill, Coastal Airlines Vice President of Operations, arrived, signaling serious corporate involvement. Whitfield's face drained of color as the power dynamic shifted. The airline publicly apologized, allowing first and business class passengers to deplane first. Alicia personally escorted Marcus off the plane, returning his belongings from first class. Walking down the aisle, Marcus passed Whitfield, who stammered recognition. "You're Marcus Washington, CEO of NextGen Technologies." Marcus replied simply, "Yes, and you're in my seat." As he exited, Captain Hayes offered an apology, which Marcus coolly declined, saying, "Save it for the deposition." Outside the plane, Marcus was met by his assistant and began preparations for the corporate battle ahead. Coastal Airlines faced a nightmare stock plummeting, social media ablaze, investigations underway. Marcus met with airline executives and board members, presenting a powerful video documenting the entire ordeal. The airline CEO, Thomas Reynolds, offered scripted apologies and promises of investigation, but Marcus demanded real change termination of those involved, a systemic overhaul, and a $50 million endowment for a foundation to combat discrimination in travel. The boardroom turned into a showdown, with major investors and board members divided. Internal emails revealed a culture dismissive of complaints and tolerant of bias. Ultimately, Reynolds was forced to resign in disgrace. The board unanimously accepted Marcus's comprehensive proposal. Months later, Coastal Airlines transformed under new leadership, adopting Marcus's reforms, with Jessica Taylor now heading passenger advocacy. Even Whitfield, having lost his job, sought to make amends, becoming a corporate consultant on privilege and bias. Marcus stood at the inaugural Air Travel Equality Initiative conference, addressing airline executives, regulators, and media, reflecting on how one flight seat dispute sparked industry-wide change. He stressed that dignity is a right, not a privilege, and that real progress means every traveler can board without the burden of racial anxiety. Jessica, now a recognized corporate ethics leader, stood proudly beside him. Marcus's story is a powerful reminder that personal courage combined with strategic action can transform humiliating injustice into lasting systemic change. What would you do in Marcus's shoes? Have you ever witnessed discrimination and chosen to speak up or stayed silent? Share your experience in the comments. If you believe everyone deserves equal treatment regardless of race, hit like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, your voice matters in creating the world we all deserve to live in.